Alrighty, so this popped up in my YouTube. I thought it was pretty interesting. Can you win without a top tier character? From Brian F. Clips. Ooh, what happened? Something interesting about some fighting game stuff? Some Street Fighter 6 stuff? What's going on?
So I'm going to use Fidel here for more content. I know he's tired of being memed on by the fighting game YouTube community, but he had this interesting tweet a couple days ago. Chun-Li is actually the worst something character.
Shit. Chun-Li is actually the worst shit character
I've ever played in my entire life. LMFAO. And this was a pretty funny tweet. Not in the sense that he intended, because right after this tweet was sent out into the world, one Goichi might have taken that personally. Now, Goichi's having quite the year for himself. He has won Evo and City of the Wolves, and also then went on to win the Esports World Cup for City of the Wolves. So he's had a big payday in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves this year. He's one of the goods of fighting games. He has won Evo across multiple titles and World Tour finals as well.
Yeah, I've seen this guy a couple times on Evo. I've heard that name before, Goichi. Yeah.
And he's really adding on to his resume as being one of the best multi-genre fighting game players of all time, period. But he's also taking up the mantle of being one of the best Street Fighter players in the world as well, period, because he won the world's largest online fighting game tournament ever for singles. He won the Japan World.
What game? Which Street Fighter? Was it 6? Okay, so right there. Street Fighter 6. So what, is Chun-Li like a top tier in Street Fighter 6? I know she was like a top tier in Third Strike, because I thought that was what that comment was directed towards. And what was it, like about a month ago, my buddies came back from I don't know, like Indiana or whatever, Ohio, and they're like some fighting game like bros, and they always, like, I was never good at Third Strike. They were the good ones, and they're just like, oh, Cornel, like, we gotta get together and we gotta play some Third Strike. I'm like, you guys will trounce me. I'm like shit, was never good, and blah blah blah. It's like, we gotta get together and play a couple matches before I gotta go back to like upstate, whatever. So I was like, okay. So I start like researching like what's the good characters, what's the top tiers, and I'm looking around. I was like, okay, Yoon, but it's like a lot of execution. It's like Chun, but you play like weird. You play like this weird like boxing range type shit. And I was like, oh shit, I suck at that. And then it's like, oh, you can play a grapple character like the flexible bro. And it's like you do the circles, but I'm not fast enough and I'm not good enough for that. So it's like, oh, do I just default to Ryu? I was like, or Ken or something like that. I was like, whatever. I mean, so what I ended up doing is like, I played like Chun for a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay, it's not bad. Long story short, yeah, I got trounced. I think it was like 90-10. I won like a couple matches, but we're all like bullshitting. But yeah, even like top tier characters can't save like dog shit noobs at a game. But I guess we're talking about Street Fighter 6. I haven't really watched a lot of Street Fighter 6. I know it's like pretty popular. It's been popping off, especially since they came out with the modern controls, the controversial modern controls.
Warrior number 1, which had over 2,300 players.
That's a lot of players.
And he won it with solo Chun-Li. Yeah, as soon as this was like literally hours after Fidel tweeted that. And Goichi goes on to win with Chun-Li alone in the biggest online tournament in the most stacked region in the world. And not only...
Wait, so you say solo Chun as if that's like a rarity. So I am taking it as... So I never got into like hardcore like competitive fighters. For like single like 1v1 type fighters, do people get like good at multiple characters in order to counter their opponent? I take it that's like more the norm. I mean, I guess it depends. Some people are like want to have like a main and then like a couple ults to like cover up like some weaknesses if someone tries to counter their character or something. And you do like a little bit of research on like the good players entering the tournament to see who you could have a problem with. So it's like, okay, he plays like this character is good against that, blah blah blah. So I mean, if that's the case, that's news to me. My assumption would have been that like, oh, most people just like bring their one character, but I guess it's so competitive that it's not good enough to just be good at one character anymore. You gotta be good at the entire game.
That you can see Haitani here also in 8th place with Chun-Li as well. But it's pretty interesting. Even Dogra was in there with Elena, using a lot of Elena getting second. Pretty interesting results in this tournament. But not only that, this same weekend that Goichi won with Chun-Li, Chris G won F2Con with modern Chun-Li over players like Dual Kevin and Idom.
Oh shit.
And then
so I take it that means Chun is so good, she's good if you play classic or you play modern. Damn. Bro, these guys have got to be seething if they lost to modern Chris G. Damn, dude. When will Chris G ever catch a break? They were hating on him for the Marvel 3 Morgan Fireball spam. Now they're hating on him for like modern controls, winning. Damn, dude. When he gonna catch a break? When will everyone else learn the only thing that matters is the W? Nobody cares like how you got the W. When will everybody learn that? I see this across shooting games. I see it across fighting games. I can see it across sports, across fighting, you know, like boxing, MMA type shit. The only thing that matters is the W. Save all of that bullshit on this was like a noble victory. This was like a mechanically intense W, and yeah, he's the best player. That like he earned it, he deserved it. It's like no one cares. Like when you talk about like a competition, and you want to appeal to like a massive amount of people, no one cares how you won. They only care about you won. That's the only thing that matters. So stop this like gatekeepy bullshit of like, oh, it's a cheap win and this win sucked and blah blah blah. It's like. That's some like bullshit infighting stuff that like the inner community can like worry about. Nobody else gives a shit about that.
Another CPT World Warrior with top level competition was won in the Middle East here with Hamoud with primarily Chun-Li. Chun-Li won 3 tournaments this weekend within hours of Fidel tweeting that Chun-Li is the worst character I've ever played in my entire life.
Right. That's the same thing. All the best characters, all the S plus characters are the worst characters in every fighting game ever. Ban all the top tier characters. Same thing in shooting games. Ban all the best guns. All right, you can't use the best gun. All right, like nobody thinks like that. Like literally nobody thinks like that. You had a chance to play the best character and you didn't. You're just salty.
So what a turnaround right there. He spoke it into existence. You can't make these kind of claims without the universe trying to find a way to turn it back against you. So what is going on here? And by the way, shout out to Hamoud winning the CPT World Warrior Middle East. He did it primarily with Chun, but he also played a lot of Elena and a decent amount of Mai. But it was primarily Chun using this top 8.
That's crazy.
Big Bird with
people coming in with like multiple characters. That's impressive.
Elena. So Elena did big work at both of these tournaments, with Dogra getting second with primarily Elena and Hamoud taking on Big Bird with Elena as well. But the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because Hollywood Rob TV here had this point after the discussion around Goichi's win
that point
was stirred up. He said, I think fighting players overvalue the importance of character choice, at least strength-wise. A character who fits you is more important than tier, especially in a pretty balanced game like Street Fighter 6.
At least strength-wise, a character who fits you is more important. I'd probably say in the long run, playing what you want is probably like more important, because I mean at the end of the day it's just a fucking video game, right? Like some people have jobs like based around it, but you know, based around like competing and going around, and you know, it's up to those like 1% of people to choose, you know, what is going to get them the best tournament win. It's like for the rest of the 99%, play whatever the fuck you want, man. Who cares? No one cares.
He goes on to clarify, pick a top tier is misunderstood. Pick the strongest character of the characters who fit you. If Sim is the best character in the game, but he doesn't fit you, you won't win with him. You'll win more with the 10th best character in the game if they fit you.
And this is like a caveat type of thing. It's like, this goes along with the presumption that everybody that plays fighting games wants to win, and that's fair. Nobody wants to really play like a fighting game to lose. I get it. Pick the strongest character that fits you. Play whatever the fuck you want. I mean, if you got like so much of an ego and you think you're so good, pick like the worst character and try to win with the worst character. I mean, to flex like how good your reading skills are, your reaction time is with like a severely advantaged character or whatever. This happens like this doesn't happen in any other game. Like, but the fighting game community likes to bring this topic up over and over again of like, oh, the top tier characters keep on winning and blah blah blah. We got to call on the developer to nerf the top tier characters and so on and so forth. This is nothing new. This happens with every competitive game. Like look at Apex. The only game I like tried to like be good at. Nobody is bringing into the final circle the worst guns on the ground, right? Nobody is doing that. Everybody is trying to bring the best guns to the final circle, all right? What sense does it make to try to win with the worst guns? For ego? To say, oh, I won with the worst characters to prove that I'm the best? I mean, congrats. You're the best at the worst character, and let's just say that person like does like get the win. Congrats. Okay, next tournament. You have a momentary win. Your win is a blip. Your win happens in the blink of an eye. You're right because it'll easily get foreshadowed when the next big major comes around. So like next major, it's like all that shit with someone winning with the worst character, whatever. That was like an outlier example. Okay, back to the top tiers. Wham! It'll just as easily get shadowed by the next major. So yeah.
Do we agree? Do we agree or disagree with One Hollywood Rob TV here? I think it's a pretty interesting topic. There's merit, some merit. I think there's some merit. Cold take, I agree. I mostly agree, but I do think this is an interesting perspective or an interesting take because it reflects the genre at this moment in time for sure. Because we can look at historical data for this, right? Has anyone really won with low tier characters in these high stakes events?
Probably. I mean, it depends. There was who's the flexible bro, or was that just a match and that wasn't the tournament? I forgot his name, dude. Come on. But the flexible bro with who played like the big pink shirt guy in Third Strike. Everyone was like cheering on that dude because he used like one of the worst moves to like pop off a win. And I don't even know if it was like a tournament win. Maybe it was just like a really good like semifinal or whatever type match. Maybe it was a win, a grand final match. I don't know. But as awesome as that was, and it was like, that's still not the norm.
Like, look back to Capcom Cup history. Kakadu won with JP, strong character. Uma winning with Jury in season 1. Jury was definitely not the best character in the game at the time. Everyone
look at every like Counter-Strike or Valorant game. All right, you look at the types of loadouts that the characters or the players use. All right, they are all going into like the final matches with like the best ARs, like ops. Right, they're all going in with like almost zero money into the last round to like get fully kitted out and try to maintain that lead that they build up with the best guns, all the grenades, all the body armor, so on and so forth. Right? Nobody's trying to win a tournament with the worst guns. Nobody's trying to go around with like zero abilities, zero body armor, and trying to just aim at people's heads, just raw dog. Like, wow, I'm so much better than you. I don't need all this like flashy, extra good guns, extra abilities, extra grenades. Yeah, nobody's doing that.
One in season 1 was complaining about Luke, which Chris Huang got second, JP, and Ken. Those were the 3 villains of the time. Jury was looked at as almost an underdog at that point. If we go back through the history, Capcom Cup 9 here with Mena RD, he won it with primarily Luke. There goes kind of a monkey wrench in the theory. He did use Birdie against Ending Walker, I believe, in that set. But Mena RD was the original poster boy for picking the character that most fits your style. In fact, he won in 2017 with Birdie, which many people considered not to be the strongest character in the game. People after Mena RD considered him to be very strong, and that was due to Mena RD showing the world the special techniques he had with like bullhorn pushback and other interesting techniques that no one was really exploiting at the level of Mena RD was at the time. But he was known for being the character specialist originally, and when he finally bounced back to being like the world champion 5 years later after winning his first Capcom Cup at the age of 18, he did it primarily with the #1 character in the game, Luke. Idom did it with Laura, but he also used Poison. Idom is another example of kind of a character specialist. Laura was not considered at this time, 2019, to be the best character in the game. Considered to be strong, but a very similar situation to Mena RD, I would argue.
Oh, so what you're saying is like, as long as you put enough time and effort into one character, that character, regardless of like, even if they're like mid tier or like low tier, can even go up against like the top tier characters. I mean, that's probably accurate, because at the end of the day, and this is true of like shooting games, the best kind of performance, like all humans are aiming towards machine-like precision, to where there's like zero lag, zero reaction time. If they see something, they immediately like do something. You know, whenever you play like a fighting game, sometimes there'll be like a Souls-like game, the bosses will like button read you, and it's like whatever you do, the bosses will just like instantly do a move that like destroys your like little dodge roll or something. It's like, God dang it, the boss tracked me, and it's like that button read my shit. It blocked right as it was doing a move or whatever, and it's like it's button reading me. It's like that type shit. But like honestly, like all humans aim towards that style of gameplay. It's just it is what it is. And besides, like, you can see this even more so with what was it? There was a tool assisted Fox, like somebody made a tool assisted match between like a Fox v Fox, and I think the same algorithm of like moves were like inputted into like each like player, like player 1, player 2. And I think there's 2 styles of matches. There's one where it's like the main algorithm was like exactly the same, and the 2 foxes, like it's on YouTube somewhere. It's crazy to watch, like 2 tool assisted like fox matches. But it's like one, the algorithm is exactly the same, and then the dude realized that like this isn't even fucking entertaining. So it's like he had to like input something else in to make it like kind of entertaining. With like distance and whatnot, the foxes will do something different, and then it was like kind of like still speedy, but like still crazy looking. Like the top tier players can't even emulate that kind of movement or move execution, right? But in fighting games and in shooting games, that's what everybody like plans for.
And you can see a lot of this throughout the history of like the Capcom Cups. Generally, strong characters win, but usually, or not usually, but every once in a while, you'll see characters that are good, but not considered the best, and usually character specialist character, like Birdie and Laura and Jury, kind of. Jury just was not considered the top 3 at the time. But there's also a lot of examples of the best characters in the game winning. JP is considered one of the best at this time. Rashid in 2018 was considered the best. NuckleDu won with primarily Mika in season 1. A decent amount of Guile as well, but our Mika was considered the best character. Kazunoko winning with Yun at the end of Ultra. Best character Ken. Yeah. Evil Ryu. Yeah. Like a lot of these characters are.
Damn, look at Yipes right there. I mean, I'm in the damn way. On MVC, look at Yipes with the fucking longest character list on MVC. What was that? What was that? The One Punch dude. I forgot his name. They got Virgil, you got Hawkeye, Dante, Mags, Wesker. What the? Who the fuck is this? I forgot his name. It's like such a throwaway character too. Bionic Arm. Who the fuck is Bionic Arm? I forgot his name. God damn it. But Yipes over here representing the most characters. Dang.
Arguably number one, or at least top 3 or top 5, not top 10. These are top 5 minimum characters at their time, right? And if we go back to Evo, if we look at the later years of Street Fighter, Mena RD winning with Blanca, that to me speaks to the character specialist in Mena RD. Now, he does have a revolving cast of characters just in case, but this is like a birdie situation. Blanca, very strong character. Very strong character. However, is he top 5? Not exactly. But he provides a unique way for Mena RD to approach the game and to potentially have more tricks up his sleeve that other people might not be prepared for. Looking back at Punk winning with Cammy, Cammy's really good. Like in that season, you could argue she was top 5 for sure. Angry Bird winning with Ken, you could argue he's top 1. So usually you see mostly strong characters win. Kawano winning the final Evo for Street Fighter V with Colleen. Colleen was really good. Probably not top 5 at the end, but really strong character. So I would go that's kind of like a character specialist sort of route with Kawano winning with Colleen. So usually you see character specialists do decent at high level. Generally, it's like a top 5, top 10 minimum sort of pick. There are limits to this, even in Street Fighter 6. I think a big qualifying statement for Raw was like a top 10 character in a balanced game like Street Fighter 6, which is balanced a lot by universal mechanics. However, are we going to see like a Lily player win an Evo or Capcom Cup? Chakotay.
I mean, I don't know what the tier list is for Street Fighter 6, but like the chances of a mid-tier character coming out as like a major like winner are probably like it's not it's like not good. The chances are just not good because take the consistency aspect out of it, and because like everybody that are just going to like these type of tournaments, like consistency is there. All right. And not only consistency under pressure is there. So you have to assume some level of consistency is there. So like once you take that aspect out, all you're left with is, like the reaction time and the good, like how good a character is. Like, is it a character like frame data good? Is it like safe? Is it fast? Is it a big old disjointed hitbox or some bullshit like that? So that's the level that these guys are talking about.
They had a lot of success with Lily. Probably the most success of any Lily player by winning Combo Breaker 2024.
But also, I forgot to mention the fact of how prepared each player is in order to like combat their opponents. Like, how much research and like homework did they do for their opponent? Like, how much did they like? Okay, this guy likes to come in with like a jump heavy, and so I counter it by like this, and like at this angle, this move beats it. Like the nitty gritty stuff, the VOD review type shit. Because not everybody goes into like all these majors like with that level of due diligence. So that's another aspect that comes into play.
Or I believe it might have been 2024. Yes. With Lily right when season 2 released, and that had over 1,600 entrants in it. However, this was not like an international CPT tournament. It was like a really big NA tournament, and he won with Lily. However, the people often consider Hibiki to be the best Lily player in the world. He hasn't won any of these major championships. You don't expect to see Lily in top 8 of Evo and top 8 of Capcom Cup. And if we look at some statistical numbers here, always from Cat Cammy the Goat here.
Top 32 character representation, CPT 2025 Japan World Warrior. So we got, I'm in the dang way again. Some of them. We got Mai, Chun, Elena, Blanca. Who's this guy? Manon, JP, Ryu, which is like this bar, M. Bison, DJ, Rashid, Zangief, and so on and so forth.
You can see with the Japan World Warrior #1, people were using.
So we can see a trend of like the top tiers. So we got Mai, Chun, Elena, Blanca, Manon, JP, Ryu, and then sometimes I'm Bison, sometimes DJ, and you gotta be really execution heavy, probably. Like if you want to win on someone down here, you gotta be like on point a majority of the time. Like you cannot, like your margin for error is so small when you play like a not top tier character. It's just a fact of the matter. Like you could probably win with like some of these characters, but you gotta be like on at every moment. But like sometimes you can make a mistake with these characters because everybody's a person, right? Everybody's not a robot. You're not tool assisted. I would hope. I would hope like the FGC is like pretty vigilant on calling out cheaters, people who bring like cheating devices and shit. But yeah, people make mistakes even at the tippity top level.
Chun-Li is a talking point for saying being a character specialist and fighting with your not top 1 character is effective. I honestly think that Chun-Li is a little underrated in the West. I have spoken about that even before Goichi won. And before Goichi won this tournament, a lot of the Japanese players were talking about how strong they think Chun-Li is. And now they're starting to see more and more results to back up those claims.
Mm-hmm.
There was 3 Chun-Lis in the top 32. In the second tier of representation in top 32, only second to Mai with 4 players in the top 32. So there's also some interesting representation here. Elena, Blanca, Manon. Those are all characters that people would kind of consider to be specialist characters to a degree. In fact, one of the weird no-shows here is Akuma, who has 0 representation in top 32, which is actually really surprising.
Dang.
I think this does go to both show Rob's point for sure. People tend to find success by sticking with what they know, but I also feel like Chun-Li is also underrated at the same time. But if we go to more stats here, looking at Capcom Cup 11, the past Capcom Cup, yes, there are limits. This is kind of exposing the limits of like play who you want to play. No Jamie, no Lily, no Honda, no Marissa. Kind of the usual suspects of who you expect to not show up in Capcom Cup. Meanwhile, 9 Kens qualified, 8 Camis, right? So there is definitely some trends here that you have to abide by. Now, it seems to be more of a continuum, right? Like how strong does a character have to be for you to be able to then commit to them because they mesh with your play style, and then still find world-class championships? It's definitely not a binary kind of answer. It's a continuum, but there's definitely a limits. Generally what we've seen at the highest level of fighting game competition, you'd be hard-pressed to find a single example of a character by the community considered to be trash winning a major championship. Just the odds become too stacked against you over time. And in fact, it depends on the game, right? So if you go back to other games, let's go back just to the previous Street Fighter. This is Punk's final tier list for Street Fighter 5. And I think this brings up like the evidence to Rob's point here. This is a pretty well agreed upon tier list. I feel like Juri, though, in S tier, that's kind of crazy looking at this now. There's some oddballs here that I don't know if I agree with.
I mean, I don't know anything about this game, but like, if you're a casual, play whatever you want. If you're a tournament bro, you should probably play something up here. Maybe you can get away with something like right here. But like, if you got the moment you got like money into the mix, hey, you better come to grips that your opponent don't give a fuck about no ego. All right, your opponent doesn't care about the tier list. Your opponent doesn't care about the meta. Your opponent is going to do whatever they can to get the money, get the medal, get the first place. So with that in mind, what are you going to do?
Juri, Chun-Li seems a little high to me. Colleen being in B tier, I don't know about that. Some oddballs here. Ed in C tier. No, I don't. Is this the right one? I think I grabbed the screenshot myself. I hope this is the right one. Some of this stuff I don't agree with. I think Ed is way too low. Anyways, a commonly agreed upon top 3, though, by the end of the Street Fighter V lifespan was Luke, Poison, Dhalsim. These were widely considered to be the top 3. And you saw its effect on the meta because half the competitive player base either picked up Luke to main or had a pocket Luke. However, very few people had a pocket Poison or switched to Poison as a main, and nobody switched to Dhalsim. But many people, by the end of Street Fighter V, with all the patches, V-Shift addition to the game, and Dhalsim's continuous buffs, consider him to be top 3. Some people argued he was top 1. If you were not already a Dhalsim specialist who had sunk years into the character, you were not switching to this character at the end of the game's lifespan. So I think that becomes the thought experiment here. If Dhalsim becomes the number 1 character...
Yeah, it wasn't... I'm trying to remember what it was like for MVC3, because that's like another game I like paid attention to for a long time. In the beginning, like when OG MVC3 came out, like the best characters, or one of the best characters was Sentinel. Not only did he have a massive amount of health, he had his down medium, which had hyper armor. And obviously you can get around that with like multiple hits because it only soaks 1 hit, but like all his X factors were like absolutely bonkers. Even level 1 had an absolute shit ton of health. The only downside was it had like a massive hitbox. So you see a lot of people picking up Sentinel, but it was only a couple like months or whatever until like, maybe it was like a year or so until they like nerfed the shit out of him, or at least like his health. So like the people that are complaining that the top tier characters are winning again, like what do you want to happen? Do you want Big Daddy Capcom to come in and like do some adjustments to the top tier characters to make them more in line of the bell curve? I mean, that's fine, but you also have to accept the fact that when all the top tier characters get pushed down a peg into like the bell curve, there's only going to be other characters that rise up into the top tier. There will always be top tiers. There will always be a meta. So like, what do you want?
In the game, are you going to automatically switch to that character and find success? Probably not. Unless it's like so broken with the ease of use and he just completely counters certain characters where it's an unwinnable matchup for them, even for a serviceable Dhalsim player. You're not going to be switching to these kind of characters. They play too out of the main centralized meta. However, when a character like Luke, who is a well-rounded, traditional, easy to pick up character who is very familiar to the average Street Fighter player's experience, he's basically a Shoto on steroids, at least at the end game of Street Fighter V.
Yeah, quarter circle forward, quarter circle back. I don't know, Z motion or Shoryuken forward, Shoryuken back is probably the extent of his special moveset or whatever.
Everyone's going to pick that character and potentially find success, like Mena RD, who picked up Luke and then won his second Capcom Cup. It always depends, and it also depends on the balance of the game, because at the end of Street Fighter V, no one was going to pick E Honda or Nash and win Capcom Cup or win Evo. That was not going to happen. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. You're going to have to climb the tier list a little bit to get those consistent wins, or add a lot of pocket characters to make that work. And if we go even further back, let's look at a Third Strike, for example. Let's go through the Evo history.
Yeah, because, and here's the thing, you probably could win with like some of these low tier characters, but the amount of effort that one would have to put into to like practice, like the precision needed to win with these is far too much for even amongst top players to ask for. All right, there's too much effort required to put into these low tier characters to win like a major with. All right, the point of competition is to put in the least effort for the most desirable position you want to win. All right, everybody enters a tournament. Everybody wants to put in the most, or everybody wants to like come out number one, right? So everyone's going to put in like some amount of effort. You just have to put in whatever, like you have to put in more effort than your opponent does to be more prepared. So you don't have to put in the absolute most effort in. You just have to put in enough so that you win over the other person, your opponent. All right. You just have to be effort plus one. All right. Your opponent is like regular. You just have to be effort plus one. And that's how you get a win. All right. If your opponent only puts in 50% effort, you still win at 51% effort. Right? Nobody is trying to win a tournament with these low tier characters because that's too much effort.
And if we go even further back, let's look at a Third Strike, for example. Let's go through the EVO history of Third Strike, a game notorious for its dominant and oppressive top tiers. EVO 2003, KO wins with Yun over Daigo's Ken. 2004, KO wins with Yun over Daigo's Ken again. 2005, Nuki wins with Chun-Li over Justin Wong's Chun-Li. 2006, Nitto wins with Yun over Issei's Yun. 2007, we have Nuki with his Chun-Li winning over Tokido with his Chun-Li. In 2008, we have Nuki and Chun-Li winning over Justin Wong with Chun-Li. In these 6 years of showings at EVO, only 2 characters ever won, Yun and Chun-Li.
Yun and Chun.
Only Yun and Chun-Li won. So, this is all very contextual because it depends on the game as well. In Third Strike, just because a character maybe Hugo meshes with you, and maybe you can make a big viral moment out of your run at EVO.
That's a baller ass moment.
You can really cause a splash in Third Strike. Be like a Hayao here.
Yeah, Hayao, that was his name.
Hayao kind of won the tournament. MLB won with Chun-Li in the end again.
Like, obviously, all these guys, absolute great performance, but like the crowd favorite, bro, Hayao, dude. Absolute GOAT. What a show, man.
But really, Hayao was kind of the winner of this EVO entirely. Yeah. But to get that first place finish, Hayao is meant to play Hugo, man. He is meant to play Hugo. Is he going to win first place? Probably not. It's possible. Definitely possible. But, he ended up getting beat by MOV's Elena and eliminated by Chai Rithy's Chun-Li. We're going to run into a roadblock at some point in certain games. So, I think it's an interesting thought experiment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the YouTube channel here. What do you think? Is it better to play a top 10 character that you mesh with? Or are there times where the top one is too strong and you just got to switch?
Wait, what?
Is it better to play a top 10 character that you mesh with? Or are there times where the top one is too strong and you just got to switch?
I'm not a tournament bro. So that top one character, I don't give a shit about. Play whatever the fuck you want. Who gives a shit? I'm just playing to beat my friends. All right? I don't care about all that other noise. Give me some big ass katana wielding motherfucker with monstrous hitboxes that deflects projectiles, has really good damage, and is super cool. All right? That's my guy. End of story. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I mean, that's a good little like a clip. This has been in like competitive games since the dawn of time, dude. The best character, too good. Oh well, and it also comes into play of like what the developers want the game. If the developers see Chun-Li getting like too many wins and being too dominant, they're gonna come in and then adjust it, right? So what? Does all of a sudden those tournament wins that those players won that caused the adjustment, do those wins have like a caveat next to them that people give a shit about? No, they don't. It was like, oh, I won when Chun was like very good. Now Chun's like mid tier. And it's like, oh, I can't fucking play her anymore and blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, just win. To the massive amounts of people, I'll say it again. Just win. Stop making excuses. Just win. What's the vibes? I mean, everybody likes this. I always thought pick a top tier was about not giving yourself a reason to complain. If you don't believe the character you're playing can do it, then pick the one that you believe can. Yeah. Like, what are you, if you're a tournament person, this like matters more, but like most people aren't tournament people. Like, I love seeing Brian F have like 10,000 browsers open and talk about some PowerPoint for, yeah. I think people forget that pick a top tier was set in the age where characters can outright invalidate one another. Picking a low tier in a modern game does not put you behind the top tiers nearly as much anymore. Yeah, like modern day fighting games, like characters are just more balanced compared to like 10 plus years ago, 15, 20 years ago. All of these big companies have had time to figure out what's good and what's bad, and if a character is too dominant in some way, shape, or form, they're quick to hit him with the nerf stick. So if that's the case, then everyone will be complaining like, "Oh, my favorite top tier character just got nerfed because they all of a sudden they won too many tournaments." And then, oh, then what happens? Everyone that was running with that character goes down to the next best character. So you're at the square one again. So it's just a bitch mode complaining, something about nothing. This is in all types of competitive games, even shooters, in all types of like competitions, like just period, not just games. And real sports, real life, in life, yeah. But other than that, good video, man. But yeah, that's it for me. Later.